Welcome, Fran.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Where are you calling from today?
I'm in London at the moment.
Excellent. Lovely. So let's get to know you a little bit better. And we're going back quite a while. So what was actually your first ever role?
Well, my first job straight out of university was as an assistant brand manager in a company called GlaxoSmithKline, which had a number of personal care brands. So I cut my teeth in marketing on shampoo and toothpaste and deodorant and things like that, which is a great grounding in the industry to work for a big company, a big international company, and start to be consumer centric and always think from the consumer backwards in the brand rather than a push model. It's a good grounding.
Was that intentionally? Was that always something you wanted to do, or did you roll into that job?
Well, I did business studies with languages at university, and fortunately somebody suggested marketing as a career route to me, and I really enjoyed it, and it's been a great grounding for what I did in my second career, which was becoming a headhunter.
Because you are quite known in the industry on a global, international level. So please explain to us what is exactly your current role and the company that you are working for.
Okay, so I founded Clarity 10 years ago this month, actually. So we're just about to celebrate our 10th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And we operate in the consumer-facing markets, so retail, fashion, luxury, which I do. And I have two partners who head up consumer goods and hospitality and leisure. So all the consumer-facing sectors. We're very international. We work at main board and operating board level, so very senior appointments. So chairs, non-exec, CEOs, CFOs, and reports to the board.
Obviously, there's been a huge impact, like in any industry, but also specifically in your industry during the pandemic. So how does post-pandemic looks like?
I mean, there's been so much change, and from a business perspective, some of it for the good. We're seeing a far more egalitarian leadership style. People talk about servant leadership now, where leaders CEOs are becoming more humble, more approachable and accessible, and recognizing they're to serve the organization as well as lead it. So that's been a very positive move. And I think also because of the remote working and the Zooming and the Teamsing, etc., people have had a chance to see their bosses in their domestic setting sometimes, to see that they are real people with real lives and children and dogs and cats and lives outside of work. So I think people have become more human through this process. From a perspective in our industry, and particularly in fashion, and we've definitely seen far greater demand for chief digital officers. We've seen also the elevation of the CIO. Frequently in the past, IT may have reported through finance and not sit on the operating board, but now that role has been elevated to operating board level. Technology is far too important not to be having a seat at the top table. And a lot of people are really, really looking at their omni-channel model, because in fact, a lot of people don't really have an omni-channel model. They've still got two stock files. They don't have a single view of the customer. So there's a huge amount of change that needs to take place, because I think ultimately omni-channel will win, and it's more attractive than pure play, as long as you have the right size of retail estate in the right places on the right rents, of course.
How have you seen the development of women in leadership roles?
Well, diversity in all its forms is very much on the agenda in the boardroom these days, and that's gender, that's ethnic diversity, etc. And we've got some specific programs going on there, which is perhaps for another day. But we're definitely getting more demand for balanced shortlists. Yes. And for example, I'm doing a big CEO role at the moment where the client says, we want a woman for this role. I have a chair role going on for a company that says they'll probably list in London, has a male CEO. We want a female chair for this business. So we are getting very specific push from clients, which is terrific.
Any advice you could give to someone who's would like to follow in your footsteps?
Well, my footsteps have been a bit unusual because I've had two careers. I had, had my marketing and general management career, and then I've had my headhunting career. But I do say to people, stay open, stay curious, keep learning. There's a balance to be struck between letting people waste your time and being open to conversations outside of your comfort zone. but always try and find that balance. But particularly now with the world changing so much, be open to different things and different opportunities, and don't sort of automatically say, oh, so no, that's not for me. Just find out a bit more, explore. And I found, I mean, some people wish to change career, but because I was quite a networker when I was in my previous career and belonged to a number of organisations, etc., knew a lot of people, that seemed to segue quite well into headhunting. And I have been able to draw upon my previous skill set because I've got perhaps a broader understanding of the client's business because I've been in their shoes. I've sat on the other side of the desk. I've had a P&L, I'm responsible for people and depots and stock, etc., not just sitting in Mayfair, doing headhunting. So I think I've got greater empathy with the clients, and I think that's been a benefit to me in building my headhunting career.
What is the best piece of advice that someone has given you?
I thought about this before we came on. I think partly that being curious and being open, keeping your open mind, not being closed. And as you get older, it's easier to close down and narrow your focus. But I think that's great. But I think another really good piece of advice is to focus on what you're doing. Don't be fixated on the competition. We can all get so distracted seeing what other people are doing. If you've decided you've got the right strategy and you understand your customer, focus on your business. Yes, you've got to be aware of what else is going on in the world, but don't spend all your time looking over your shoulder. Focus on your market and your customer. And
what's the worst advice that someone has given you?
Well, probably going back earlier in my career when people could be quite patronizing. When it was, I did work in a pretty male-dominated environment. When I first started, I could often be the only woman in the room, but that could always be an advantage, right? You're the one people will remember. You're not the one in the grey suits. So I think more sort of people telling you to stay in your lane, keep your head down, and don't be disruptive, don't cause waves. That's the worst advice, because I think women are too often not encouraged to step up, speak up, and try and change things and be disruptive in a positive way, obviously.
I could chat to you for hours, Fran, because I think you have a whole wealth of information about people. And isn't it in the end that our business is about people?
Yeah. And as I said, we will always we take detailed briefs from clients. We write very long job specifications. We spend hours looking at, the potential candidates, the market, but 95% of what makes it work is culture fit. It's all about fit, which is the intangible. We can't assess that from a CV. They lived here, they work there, they speak these languages, they've done this, but the culture fit is what will make it work. And so that's the key challenge always when selecting people for a role.
Thank you so much, Fran.
My absolute pleasure. Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.